welcome back. And we're moving into our final conversation for this morning as we find out more about Revive Belize. We have with us on set Father Scott Giuliani of the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity. And we have Abraham Obando, who is a parishioner at Divine Mercy Church. Good morning and welcome.
Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
So we're talking about a course through the church. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. Back to school as adults?
What is Revive? Revive is just a weekly course designed to deepen the knowledge, our faith, to increase our faith. Bring us together as parishioners from different parishes, because we've been visiting all the parishes, and this is something coming about from the bishop's office and the Pastoral Life Commission, and so we're trying to bring all the parishes together to basically have a dinner and a talk, and we'll be bringing, it's been brought together by the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity, and we'll be, we've been blessed then that they have provided this kind of creating this unity, bringing all the parishes together to one place, where we could make friends, and because it's amazing how you would be a Catholic at Divine Mercy and not know the Catholics at Holy Redeemer or at St. Joseph, So this is, I think, one initiative that will bring all of us together and create those bridges that we need so much in our diocese and especially here in Belize City. We need it a lot.
So it's building union between parishioners of different churches too.
Parishioners and even people may perhaps have drifted away from the parish.
Now, looking at what you're talking about, it's dedicating one day a week for 8 weeks. At being able to, what you say, explore the Catholic Christian faith. One would say, if you're Catholic, if you went to a Catholic school, you kind of know the fundamentals, don't you? Father?
You're pressing a button with me. I think I would more shift to a relationship with love, right? If you get married, you can say, well, I said I do on my wedding day, I think it's all taken care of. If you do that, you're probably going to run into trouble with that relationship. And so I think, although the word course is being used, you'll notice that it's encountering God's love. And so it's precisely in those areas where we have our Catholic education and perhaps think that's enough. It's precisely why this is needed, because that knowledge is to lead to love. Right? And so then as we come to know someone, we want to love them all the more. As we come to love them, we want to know them more. And so God's a person, he's not an idea. And this course is precisely that, through the encountering, just even through friendships at the meal, and then the dynamic talk. Because there's 3 parts. There's that meal, which is an important part, where you just get to know someone, and the social media isolated culture that can seep in, just to share a meal with someone, right? And then you go in, you have the dynamic talk, and that's where you perhaps be reminded about those fundamentals, right? And then you dialogue again about what you learned, and about maybe you share your personal experiences, and it's a safe setting, right? So you can come there, I disagree with this, I really like this, or this is what happened to me. And it's a safe setting where people can be known. And one of the great fruits of this one is, I think, there'll be friendships in Christ. And I find those are the ones that stick with you. Like I've been in sports, I've been in your school, you have your work, you have different life experiences where you have people. But when those experiences end, sometimes those relationships can end too. But those relationships in Christ, and those are the relationships, you come back together, they're right there again. So we're touching upon a meaning, deepest meaning in our hearts.
Now it's an aptly named encounter or program called Revive Belize. We're at a time in this country where we have a lot of challenges, and there's a lot of blame going around. Who should be acting, who isn't acting, and one of those falls squarely at the feet of the church, all denominations. That people or the churches are perhaps not as involved in helping to change a society that is struggling with children being killed, with lots of other challenges. Is there a hope in being able to get people to move beyond saying, I went to church on Sunday, to doing things that really fit within your own religion.
Sure. I think that would be a misconception, actually.
Okay.
And here's why I think. There's a philosopher that speaks about when we want community and unity. And when you begin to see these elements of chaos, these horrific elements that are beginning to happen, we have a state of emergency, I think, is currently going on, right?
Sure.
And so that's usually, you're admitting that we are in a chaotic state when you say that we're in a state of emergency. So we want to move from chaos to community. Well, this philosopher, he spoke about two helps that we have. We have cops and conscience. Right? So we have the law enforcement, in which you're seeing that play out. But to believe that the law enforcement or these acts are enough to stop the horrific crimes against children or the killings on the street of Belize City would be foolish, you know. And I think there's two elements, but we need that. Thank God for the government, the state, the police force, the virtuous men that sacrifice to do that, keep that law and order. But then we have conscience. And this is another element that we fight to bring unity, where you have form on truth, moral principles that help form us in the respect and love. And I feel that sometimes the church, someone could be saying, oh, the churches aren't doing enough on law enforcement. Well, that's not our job. We're the specialists in the conscience part. And I believe we are still leading that. I think, especially as a Catholic Church, through education, please God. But I do feel that I would agree with, we as Catholics, precisely sometimes we fail to live what we're called to teach. And that can give a mixed message. And I think we can all experience that in any relation, going back to relationship. Right? We can fail in love in many ways. And but that, acknowledging that, I think the Catholic Church has a leadership role in forming the consciences. When we get to drift, we always have a voice, a 2,000-year tradition, you know. There's a unique contribution to the dialogue that we have. And it's not in law enforcement. We want to encourage that, we have our principles, but as forming consciences, we have an authority on that, we really do. And that does help alleviate many of the social ills, you know, it does.
You know, you strike something to mind there. Many a times, the churches, they do get the blame, when in reality the onus is actually on the people, because they don't really attend, and so their mind is not at ease. You know, I just wanted to shed that out. Looking at the pamphlet, it looks very youth-friendly, Mr. Obando. It looks very youth-friendly. Now, revive, and I love the word because it actually brings forth or, you know, that belief in you. Revive. Is it only for youths, or is this for the entire family?
It's for the entire family from ages 18 and up. You know, one of the key things that happens when you ask someone to come to one of these events, you tell, look, I have kids, you know, I have. The first excuse that comes is the child. So when we need to have this one there. So the youth group indeed will be working with the youth ministry, with the child ministry, and they will be, you know, there. We have a youth group at Divine Mercy that will be working with that, and another family that will be, you know, heading that ministry.
Okay.
So they will be working with the youths there, and we might, you know, create like different groups based on their age ranges, you know, to help them with their homeworks and things, while the parent can go up to the parish hall and, you know, enjoy the dinner and the dynamic talk that will be given. And I think this is a key, you know, like when we went to all the parishes, one of the things that we took there was to always have 3 families and the youth group present. So that it creates that dynamic. You could see that age range from being a youth to being a family person. And I think that created an impression in a lot of the parishes that we visited. Whenever they saw this big team coming up, like, you know, you do look like a big wave of people, you know, coming up to present this revive, you know, and we were all wearing our revive shirts and, you know, we have read saying revive, we're here, let's revive this, let's bring us together, you know, to.
Who is it for? Who is it? People who, you mentioned people who strayed away from the church, you mentioned people who may be having a difficult time and benefit from the inspiration. Is it a specific target audience that you would really love to see come to this?
Well, you know, one of my greatest things I wish I would see is, you know, we have, here in Belize, we have a lot of Catholics by name, right? I wish they would come, you know, I really do wish that they would come and just listen to these talks. And I think that will touch their heart in a way that it will bring them closer to God. But open that little niche that is in your heart, you know, to, you know, C.S. Lewis said, you know, if nothing in this world fills this heart of mine, it means that I'm created for something else. There's
Yeah.
something else that is needed, and I think it's that love with God that is, a lot of time is missing.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, if we look at and you know, I really think keeping the context of society is important. So we talk about social issues, but we also see challenges within the different churches as well. And the Catholic Church is not immune to it, where we don't see as many young people being as involved. We don't see many people being called to vocation as was in the past. So there seems to be a missing link or connection of some sort. What's being done to you know, generations have changed where my mother, you know, may find comfort in just going to Mass on Sunday. Other generations will now look at, where can I have a deeper meaning? Where can I get more from a faith that I subscribe to?
Sure. I believe God's still calling people.
Yeah.
I don't think people are listening. I think there's more distractions now. I don't think I think our priorities are shifting.
Yeah.
And I think it's beginning in the homes.
Yeah.
I don't just, what about family prayer? What about just eating the meal around the table? Basic, when life was a little bit more simple, we had more ability to encounter not just God,
Yeah.
but our own family members. And so if we move from that deepest source of our life, of God, you're going to see the social ills, you're going to see the breakups in families, you're going to see the unfulfillment. In regards to youth, the youth want God. You know, they're passionate, they're hopeful. At Divine Mercy, it's not that what you said is not the case at Divine Mercy right now. They're active. They were leading their summer camp. They're volunteering their time. They didn't get paid. They didn't have any incentive, but they came every day and they were helping the youth. And and they're the ones that were going to parish to parish, as Abraham was saying. And so the youth want it, you know, but they have to be challenged. And that's what I love about the youth. They have a sense that something's phony.
Yeah.
It's watered down. They don't want it, but they're challenged. They're raised up, and so Abraham and his wife Susanna, they are helping to lead to go down to World Youth Day. I think there's about 75 people throughout the diocese going to Panama to see the Holy Father in January.
Wow.
And so that and you're going to see. It's hard to say the youth aren't involved in the church right now. When you go to one of these areas where millions of youth from all over the world are leading and singing and celebrating and dancing, and I think sometimes it's hard to see the full picture, and I think we have to do better to get that message out.
Definitely. How important, you know, I'm glad that you mentioned the youth. Today's day and age, our families are so young, and we've got the belief that we don't need to go to the church. We don't need to congregate there to believe that God does exist. How important it is for young people and young families, or families on a whole, to congregate in one area to give thanks.
Well, it's incredibly important, but I think there's a block, and it was in your question. You said to believe that God exists. I think we shoot for excellence in our education, we seek for excellence in our occupations, but when it comes to faith, how is it that some course that we had in Standard 5 is enough for adult faith? And I think we shoot so low with our relationship with God. We just presume, and it's in our culture, and it's almost a wake-up call that needs to be revived, because the goal isn't to believe God exists. You can believe God exists before Jesus came. When Jesus came, he brought something completely new. He brought life, he brought the hope, he brought the answer to our ills. But we don't listen. We get distracted. And he's still speaking. He's so patient, you know? But he's there, and I think this is a very safe element for people to come to Mass. I think sometimes you go to Mass, if you've been away, it's too much. Stand up, sit down, kneel down, stand up, sit. You know, and you're like, what's going on here? And then no one says hi to you. It's not meant to be a concert. It's not meant for entertainment. It's the deepest encounter with God that we can have, the deepest intimacy with God. And so it's meant for something else, but it's not supposed to be only the Catholic faith. And that's the problem when it becomes that. Then you either try and make it into a circus and make up for things. And I guess I guess I'll leave it at that. But the revive part, to open up to that relationship, I think that setting will, it can transform things. It really is possible. Because really we were meant for it.
You know, I think one of the things I hear very clearly from you is that the message is still coming out. But, you know, one of the things we learn in any other aspect of life is that when there's evolution, when there's change, it forces people to change their communication methodology, recognizing that, you know, if I talk to my 14-year-old nephew, there's a lot of things I have to totally change about how I communicate. And what may have worked for me when I was 14 won't work for him. and it continues. So is it sometimes that there has to be an evolution, not in the core values and beliefs, but in how it's communicated and how you reach out to people? It's not, there's an old movie, remember, if you build it, they will come. You know, building churches then doesn't bring people, and sometimes it brings people, but all their religious beliefs ends in that 1 hour mass, you know? So how do you move with time and generation and counter these very same distractions that we acknowledge are there?
Marlene, that's a great insight. You're speaking to what the Holy Fathers have been speaking about the last couple of decades. And they use a term, the new evangelization, where we recognize in the modern age that people, we change, we move. Well, the church has been around for 2,000 years, so it's had to always adapt itself to the times, and the church is all over the world, so it always has to adapt itself to different cultures. So it's an expert in humanity that way. But we're moving very quickly now. And so this new evangelization, where we have to be new in giving that same message, just like the way you said it, in a new, vibrant way, new in our methods, new in our zeal, to do so. And that's exactly what Revive is. And it's a part of, Revive is the first part of 3 parts. It goes to Revive, to Disciple, and to Mission. And it's accompanying someone right through those whole stages, through that, the different temptations and boredoms and confusions that someone can go through, and wounds that someone can go through, to really to encounter Christ and to want to follow Him, to be looking forward to that Sunday Mass, to be looking forward to that time of adoration. And so that's what this is doing. It's responding
in terms of Revive, so Tuesdays, it's going to be for 8 weeks. And what's the duration? From what time to what time?
From 6:30 to 9. One of the things that Revive also has is that it will have a retreat on second on the as part of the program. It has a retreat, and in that retreat, you will be having a mass explained. So as you go through the mass, the different parts of the mass will be explained. So especially for those who have fallen away, people who are coming to your parish for the first time, visiting a Catholic church, or contemplating coming into the Catholic church, I think this would be a great experience for them to understand what really happens in the mass. Because it's something like, going through a Catholic primary school, a Catholic high school, I never understood what happened in the mass. It wasn't until I had that encounter with Christ, that really struck, and I started to delve into wanting to know what my faith really teaches. And when you take that ownership of your faith, it is like you said, that is when that love starts to grow, and that is when you start understanding what's the gift that Jesus has truly given to us. And that is what makes the whole difference. So once you accept that, then that pushes you forward to go and be the person that God wants you to be.
So what can you explain to people as to what they can expect? So they get a free meal on Tuesday night. I saw that. Free dinner, free childcare. So you can't say I don't have a babysitter. But still, if I say, I don't want to go and be preached to and just feel worse about myself afterwards, what do you say to people as to what they can expect?
Okay, what Revive is, it will be like, for instance, when you invite your friends over to your home for a dinner, you create that setting or that ambience where you create that comfort level that you feel comfortable to share with that person. You won't be talking, for instance, in the first few sessions, you won't be talking about religion in a way. We'll just be talking to yourself, getting to know each other. Right? Because that's really what we want to build, is build friendships. And friendships that will last even after Revive ends. So while you're there, you'll be brought in, you'll be sitting with, we have table hosts. So each table host has been trained on how to handle the conversations with their table. So they'll be bringing in people together. We're thinking on putting people of age ranges together, people, married couples together, creating people of similar backgrounds together so that they feel more comfortable in opening themselves to a conversation, because it's amazing how nowadays, we get behind our screens to communicate with each other.
Is there no phone rule? We didn't see.
Actually, there's no rules, but you won't see phones.
You go to a restaurant now, you look at people having dinner.
And chatting to each other.
We would love to meet you and enjoy, come and enjoy Revive. For me, because I've got a young family, and it always stick out for me. And Marlene would tell you, whenever there are questions to be asked when it comes to family, I make sure that I throw it out when it comes to young people. Of course, when it comes to couples who have not been married as yet, fiancés, what the conversation is going to surround that. And I say this because we need to continue to hold each other together. We tend to stray many a times. What would the conversation be for young, upcoming lovers, lovebirds, families? What is that going to be like?
It'll be more like geared towards a family, like you said. It'll be like, how many kids do you have? What their age ranges are. Getting to know the person, really. Trying to strike that intimate conversation with that person. You're getting to know the person's, where he's coming from. Because really, at times we tend to do like judging people right up front. But this would be more like getting to know you. We're open to friendships, really. That's what we want to build, friendships. Yeah. So we will be speaking to, how are your kids, what's their favorite pastime. We won't be scrutinizing you for anything. It'll be creating a relationship-based conversation around the table, enjoying a dinner.
With regards to the lovebirds element, I find that the more someone comes to love God, the more they're more able to love others. Yeah. And I think if you revive your relationship with God, you're going to revive your relationship with the one you love. Yeah. It's that simple.
Deep. I like it.
Yeah.
Is there limited space available? Like, should people just make sure they sign up as quickly as possible?
They can sign up online.
Okay.
They have this revive-mercy.eventbrite.com.
Okay.
Right? And you can sign up there. I think it's also on the screen there. You can see it at the bottom. You can sign up there, or you could contact any at the parishes. We have left these forms, and you could fill it out, and then we will enter it into the system. Because so far we've had probably like 150 people signing up from the different parishes. And we hope it will be more, because we were probably catering for 200 and above.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's a parish hall, so you do have the space.
You do have the space.
Holy Redeemer Parish Hall.
The difficulty will be because you do want table leaders and the volunteer staff, because if it goes a little bit beyond, we'll have to adjust. And we're at that point. We're going to have to adjust, and because of the turnout that we're getting. Nice. And so it's going to be a little busy week for us getting ready, but I'm sure we will be.
Why
it's Belize City only?
Yeah.
Well, it's only Belize City. It's only Belize City. Just start right here. Perhaps we'll come back and go into the west if the Parish Life Commission wants us to do that. But but for now, I think this is a good place to start.
I'm sure it was strategically chosen a Tuesday. Why a Tuesday?
It wasn't actually.
It
was a little bit of dialogue, and we didn't want it during the week. We did want it during the week, but this is more practical realities with other events and scheduling. Yeah. Really very simple. Yeah. So.
All right, and so it starts on October 2nd, a commitment of every Tuesday for 8 weeks. It closes off with a retreat, as you said, and there's no cost associated.
No cost associated. It's been a blessing for Belize to have this revive come to us at this moment. When I think, like Father said, we need to start forming more consciences. That's how we could curb the crime issue. I think.
Yeah.
The stronger consciences,
and building a stronger community.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. Once again, there is a website. We'll be posting it on our Facebook page a bit later, and there you can also contact Divine Mercy Catholic Church to get more information about Revive Belize. It's a free dinner, free childcare, but most importantly, it helps you to build your relationship with your faith and with God. So that is it for us for this segment. We're going to go ahead and take a final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.